What's going on, guys and gals? Stock Jock here. Up $248 in the first hour of trading. It's currently 3 o'clock right now, and I'm actually up $1,772 off a news play that happened later on in the day. But let's go over the first hour of trades just so you can see what I did. So there wasn't very much on the gap scanner out of the gates this morning. So ZSAN was kind of, we were, all watching based off of how it, or we were all watching because it just ran like crazy yesterday for no reason. Really, this stock is up for no reason. They did a reverse split that tends to make a stock jump at some point, and yesterday it did just that. It went from $5 to like 11 bucks. Crazy move, right? So today, people just looking for maybe a continuation of that craziness to go on. I was looking for an entry on this thing. You can kind of see out of the open it popped up, and then 2 minutes later it popped all the way down and kind of grinded its way back towards the high day. So all I was going to do on this one is play for the opening range breakout, so to speak, basically high of day in this situation. So you can kind of see right here, 920 is on the ask. What I saw is a bunch of volume coming in, buying volume coming in. So I just wanted to buy, anticipating the break of the high of day, which was 925 at this time, and that would just lead to more craziness. The spreads were really wild on this thing most of the day, so I scalped it. It did end up running later on, but this is my first trade of the day. I'm trying to just get green to get a little bit of a cushion on the day, so I scalped it for about $150. I'm in ZSAN 917.
Shares of DPW fell over $1.70, now to $1.79. That's double numbers.
I'm out 925. So OPGN was actually my next trade, and this one was a complete accident. As in, I forgot my strategy on this thing. As in, my strategy was not to trade this thing if it hit higher day at all. The reason being is if you look at the daily chart down here in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see we're coming up on that 20-day moving average, which is that teal line there. That's going to act as resistance. Then you have the $half resistance area, which is right there at the 20-day moving average. So you have two resistance levels lined up. On top of that, you can kind of see that, I guess it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days back, I had that spike, and it spiked into that resistance level and was rejected very hard. So it's a pretty solid resistance level, and I just didn't want anything to do with this trade today. And what did I do? It hits my high day scanner, and I immediately jump into it. uh, that's part of it is my trader Rolodex radar going off. I've traded OPGN a lot in the past, and you can kind of see on the daily chart it does like to make big moves. So when it hit my high day scanner, I jumped in immediately. But this time, I just completely forgot that I didn't want to trade this. I jump in anyway, and ended up taking a loss on it. OPGN going.
Coming up at about 9:59 a.m., the Richmond Manufacturing Index for February.
So while I had my OPGN trade open and just looking to get out of it, TNDM had some news out. Cowen comes out with a price target of $5 on this thing. So I'm thinking that it's going to get a spike. It's only a 10 million share float. And what ends up happening is it just doesn't move very much at all. So I ended up just getting out. If a stock can't move off of, a price increase by, what is that, 70% or something like that, I'm out. So that's what happens.
TNDM Tandem, Cowen raising their price target to $5 from $2.50.
TNDM price target increase to $5 from Cowen.
That's Tango November Delta, Michael.
So this is where I exit my OPGN trade that I had. You can kind of see here on that 1 minute, we had the initial spike, and then the next candle was kind of a drop, and then we've been kind of just grinding towards that 244 level again. And what that does is it makes an ascending triangle. You know, a triangle that's kind of pointing in the up direction. It's got a flat top, and the lows keep getting higher and higher and higher, and eventually it's going to either pop or drop. And I was kind of waiting to see what would happen, to see if I can get out at a decent level. But the bottom side of this triangle, if you were to draw it, broke, so that was my sign to get out. It's got an ascending triangle, so I just broke down. It's a shame. I had chance on that 1 minute there. So my next trade was MNK. This was a nice win for me. It was one of the bigger gappers this morning, and you can see at 9:30, you know, popped up for about 15 minutes, pulled back, and you could have played the 5-minute candle over candle on this thing. And it would have gotten you a little bit, but what I played was specifically, if you look at the 1 minute chart right in the middle of the screen, you have that one candle that broke above the VWAP. You have the we're inside that 1 minute candle right here on the far right side. But if you go one more candle behind that, that's the pullback candle after the pop through the VWAP. So a lot of times, if a stock is under the VWAP and it pokes through the VWAP, it's going to pull back to the VWAP and test it. The VWAP is that, I know there's two teal lines there. It's the thicker one. So you can kind of see that spike through the VWAP and then the pullback to tap that VWAP. And then what I like to do is play the first 1 minute candle that goes candle over candle after that instance, after the pop through the VWAP, for a little continuation. So that's all I did. That was my entry right there. You can kind of see it. I got in at 2054 probably is what the fill is, or 2055. And what I like to do is make sure we get that candle over candle and then try to break the candle that was the original candle to break through the VWAP. So that's the play here. Long M&K at 2055. I'm out 2064. So my next trade here is GME, GameStop. This was just a simple Benzinga news play. You'll hear Benzinga come on, say GME takeover chatter, rumored Amazon buyout, and it's probably not true, but nonetheless, that any kind of buyout chatter with Amazon attached to it is going to make a stock pop. I actually thought it was going to move more than it did, but apparently someone was feeding someone some news so they could exit some shares and play into that volume. So you do see the volume come in. I do get a decent entry, and I do get out with profit.
GME, GameStop, Golf Michael, Echo, unconfirmed chatter being circulated now. Unconfirmed chatter that Amazon is in late stage talks to buy GameStop.
GME and Amazon takeover chatter. HTBX is the next trade. This one, I'm only going for that whole dollar break, looking for a couple 3 pennies, pop over 3, sell into that little bit of a volume spike. What I didn't like about this is you can see here on the ask is at $2.99 you have 500 shares, and I buy into that with you can kind of see my time in sales there. It's just burning green. There's just people hitting that ask like crazy. But the 500 shares doesn't even budge. And when I buy 2,000 shares, and I get filled at $2.99 basically. And that $2.99 doesn't even budge. So that tells me there's a hidden seller, and I don't want anything to do with that. The first opportunity I have to get out to minimize my loss, I take it. So I end up taking, I think I lose about a penny on this trade. So my next trade was Z-Sand. This is my final trade. I make about $100 on this trade. You can kind of see what I was looking at here on the 5-minute chart in the top left-hand corner of your screen there. It started to make this wedge, and it was breaking to the top side of the wedge. And a lot of times with the wedge pattern, whether it's the 5-minute or the 1-minute, whatever, usually you'll get some sort of move, some sort of pop or drop, depending on what side of the wedge it breaks on. In this case, it was breaking to the upside, but I waited for a 5-minute candle over candle for confirmation. In this case, it was going to be the break of 820, I think it was 820, that it needed to break to give me confirmation. So when I saw the volume starting to come in for the break to the top side of that wedge, I bought into that volume, and it got me a little bit of a pop, and I was able to get out for about a 6-cent win, I think, on that. On 2,000 shares, $120.
After the close today, March 42 and a half.
I think it's just all based off of each individual thing.
Papa John's.
Still watching this 5-minute play here. All right, I'm in 822. Out 827. And that's how I finished the morning. I finished up $248 on the morning. Like I said, I'm over 1,700 as I'm recording this. I guess it's 3:25 p.m. So very nice day for me for sure. If you have any questions on my trading style, or if you're interested in how I trade, feel free to join us in my free Discord chat. Link for that is in the bottom of this YouTube video. And we run a free voice alerts area where myself, as well as the other shot callers of the room, they call out what they see. People are always in there throwing out their ideas for trades, and it's just a really good environment, especially for new traders. So come on in. All right, I will see you in the next video.